Welcome to the Journalism Club, and today we're going to be hosting an interview with Ms. Nalbandian, the principal of our school. So, to start, how long have you been with AGBU MDS, and how long specifically have you been serving as the principal of middle and high school?
Okay, first of all, thank you for having me and to arrange this interview. This upcoming year will be my 42nd year being in our school. I started in 1981, 82 actually, as a math teacher and as a science teacher when our school was back then in St. Peter's, and it was called St. Peter's Day School. And then after that, of course, we went to another school and finally in this permanent location. So if you start counting from there, it will be about 42 years that I've been working in the school. In the past, I've been the department chair for math. I've been math and science teacher, but then later on my focus mainly on math, become the department chair. I also hold positions like being senior class advisor for many years from the day that we had seniors. Then for the past, I would say 10 years, I was the vice principal. And the last year, this is my first year as a principal, actually.
So, how did you become like a vice principal and principal from your position as math and science teacher?
Well, I guess school saw a leadership quality in me. I was always thinking about how we can do this school better as far as curriculum and everything else. So at that time when our previous vice principal is about to retire, they asked me if I'd be willing to take this position. And I gladly accepted that position because I liked the challenge. I wanted to have that opportunity to move our school to the next level, I would say. And that's how it started.
Okay, thank you. During your time with AGBU, what have been some of the major accomplishments you've been able to achieve, and how would you say they affect your position today?
Yeah, I would say it's not my accomplishment, as I would say it's the school accomplishment. We had great leaders, we had great principals in the past. Baron Hagopian, for example, I have to mention him for sure. He was a role model for me. He worked really hard, and during his time, our school went from, I would say, 600 students to almost 1,000 at the time, and then obviously the recession hit and the numbers we started losing students because of the economy, nothing else. So I had a lot of role models that inspired me to do what they were doing and continue with that. And for me, I have to say in the past at least 15 years, this was not a job necessarily for me, this is a calling for me. You know, I've been working in the school forever, so this is kind of like my family, and I want to do the best for our students. I'm taking them as my own, and the success of every single one of them and failure for me is a big deal.
Okay, thank you. It's very nice. On a different note, would you please provide a little insight into some of the greatest obstacles you said you faced and how you overcame them?
The obstacles, I have to say, obviously, the biggest obstacle was during COVID, where everything was changed overnight, and we went from being on campus quickly to online learning. A lot of us had to learn technology, which for some of us was very foreign, not just for me as an administrator, for our teachers as well, and students. And all that restrictions that came with the COVID, one day you can open campus, the next day you can't. There were so many, the change was so fast and so quick, and adapting to that change is not an easy thing to do, and also keep the quality of the education. I have to say the COVID also impacted our students in many ways. Coming back from being online for 2 years back to on campus, they had to learn a lot of things. So discipline became an issue. And we faced that. That was another challenge. As far as the teachers too, I mean, the work got so much for them that it was hard to manage. So I would say that was probably the biggest challenge that I've faced during the COVID time.
Yeah. So how have you kind of rebuilt since then, since COVID?
Well, as you've been part of it, you've seen we tried to do the best we could. We had a lot of help as far as PDs and professional development that was provided as far as technology provided for us as an administrator as well as for our teachers. Um, and I would say we did it gradually. I mean, we're still doing it. It's not something that we can still see the effects of the COVID with our students and teachers. But like everything else, you learn and you adapt and you have to come up with solutions sometimes right on the spot.
Right, of course. Thank you. On a different note, focus groups are an instrumental aspect of the high school experience at HEBU. So how have you influenced the implementation of them, and how have they benefited the students?
Yes, the focus group started about 10 years ago when I first became vice principal. I did a lot of research on different schools, public to private, and I noticed when the students have a goal in mind where they're in high school, from ninth grade, when they start thinking about what they want to do when they graduate from high school, they become more invested in their education. So the idea of the focus group started from them. It wasn't just my idea, as I said. I did some research and I found many successful and good schools have that. For us, it was a bit of a challenge because we don't have enough numbers. Because when you get into the focus group, and one of the areas of focus group is to offer our students a courses that is in their focus or in their major that they're studying. And having only maybe 10 kids in a focus group at the beginning, it was hard to find classes for them. So it was kind of limited as what we could do. I wish we had more students and we could offer them more courses, relevant courses in their focus group. But it was something to do, and I think the advantage of it was the students started thinking they have to apply to the focus group, so that they put them in the process of how to apply for a university license. They have to write an essay, they have to provide a letter of recommendation, they have to have the transcript pulled by them, they have to put it in. So, and they have to get interviewed by the focus group chairs. So that already gives them the ideas how the college is going to be. And later on, we brought, during that 2 years that the students are in the focus group, they have a number of speakers who come and guest speakers who come talk to them. And the best part of it was the internship, which unfortunately again during COVID, it started to fall apart because we couldn't do that. And we're hoping that gradually we're going to build that the internship position, program, which is a big component of this program. One of those focus group areas was Armenia. So our 11th graders, a lot of them will go back to Armenia and do the internship in Armenia. They've been in the hospitals in the past. They worked, they saw surgery with the doctors in something that it's almost impossible to do in the United States.
Right.
So I do see a lot of good points that comes out of the focus group, and hopefully after now that COVID is behind us, we can rebuild this program and make it even better.
Of course, yeah. I think that's a hope for all the students.
Yes.
So it's come to the attention of the student body that there's a new head of school. So how do you believe you'll be able to work with them in the future to improve academic life at HEBU?
Yes, well, I'm looking forward to whoever is coming to take us to the next level and next, there's always room to improve. If you find the right person who is willing to bring preschool, elementary, middle and high school together, we need that person. We need someone who will glue all of us together, have better, have this bigger picture in mind. I personally don't see any reason that I personally will not be able to work with someone. Again, we do not think about personally for our own benefits. We should look at the students always come first. So we need to work with whoever has the same mindset to put the students first, and it's anyone who takes that position, we all should be willing to work with.
Right, okay. And for our final question, what do you believe is the calling of being an Armenian school? And what is your dream for our school? How do you see our school being an ideal version of itself?
Well, I think we are, as an Armenian, we do have an obligation, first and foremost, to give the opportunity for our students, not just to learn Armenian, speak and write, to also immerse themselves in the culture. I think culture is the most important thing. Making friends who are Armenian, growing up with Armenian friends, being able to learn and live in a culture that it's all Armenian in a sense, and as well as visiting Armenia, coming back. This is an opportunity when you're outside of the Armenia. It's very difficult if you're in a public school to find it. Yeah, of course you might have friends, but it's not the same as the community, as the whole school that has the same mentality of instilling in the students the love of being an Armenian, the Armenian identity, which I think is very important. And I have always said, if nothing else, when the kids come in here and once they graduate, they will be connected to the homeland and they think about themselves as an American Armenian. That's priceless. And that's, I think, the goal of our school. We have done a great job on that, I have to say. And we will definitely, that's the most important component of our, or a mission of our school, is number one, to instill the identity and culture in our students, Armenian culture in our students.
Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us on the Journalism Club interview. And we hope to hear from you again.
And thank you for having me. And the best of the success and luck to you guys. Thank you.
Thank you.